Hey kids, it's Mr. Flea here, hope you're well, and welcome back to Bike News, the monthly look back at all that's been going on in the world of motorcycling here in the UK, this time for the month of October 2024. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel, and it's silly season. It's that time of year, isn't it, when there's all sorts of new bikes and stuff going on, so lots of news to get through, so grab yourself a brew, let's crack on with Bike News. Alrighty, first story here in the first paper I've highlighted is it's two friends riding together. Now this is Charley Borman, who everybody I think recognises, don't they now? Charley, of course, I think he probably made himself famous by being friends with McGregor and doing the long way round, or was it the long way down? I can't remember. Long way round, wasn't it? Was the first one. I only mentioned this, but and I seem a bit vague because actually I never watched that series, or I think I may have watched it in passing latterly. But it wasn't a series that really gripped me like it seems to have done lots of people. Many people I speak to say, "Oh, I saw Long Way Round and I was absolutely hooked, and I had to get into adventure biking." And you know, what a great thing that they did that series, because really they've been kind of credited, haven't they, with launching adventure bike riding as we know it ever since they made this kind of GS famous, didn't they? And so on. So anyway, they've done a few more series, it appears. So what it says here, star of the Long Way Round television series Charley Borman has revealed exclusive details to MCN ahead of the 2025 release of his latest bike travel series with Ewan McGregor. Apparently it's a 10-parter, and it sees the pair return for a fourth instalment in their series. This time they're going from McGregor's home in Scotland to Borman's in England, but far from taking the direct route, they will be seen navigating the highs and lows of a 10,000-mile loop through Scandinavia and up into the Arctic Circle. McGregor will be tackling the adventure aboard his own 1974 Moto Guzzi, Eldorado ex-police bike, and Borman is on a BMW R75/5. So that might be quite interesting. I don't know if it says here where it's going to be shown. I suspect it might be on Apple TV or something like that. So might not be one that we all get to see if you don't have all those channels. But anyway, are you looking forward to seeing that? I mean, big kudos to Charley for, as I say, pretty much launching adventure bike riding as we know it. And what is it, 20, 30 years on, and they're still making those series, and they're still getting viewers. So that's amazing. Right, next up, this bike here, new CGX150 Cafe Racer, is based on Honda's trusty CG125. Cafe culture for all is the headline. And I've pulled this up because I don't normally feature 125s, or indeed 150 as this one is, on the channel, because they are just a little bit underpowered. But this one from Honda looks absolutely cracking, doesn't it? It's a proper retro-styled bike. It looks really cool. Unfortunately, I think it's only going to be in Japan, although I think the article implies that it could be possible that we might see it in the UK. Let me read some of the highlights here. It says, there's something refreshing about a back-to-basics air-cooled single with no bells or whistles, and that's exactly what's expected from a new range of Honda CG150 machines that's due to be launched in China. Oh, they're coming out from China, they're made there. CGX150 will be offered in 3 distinct flavours: a cafe racer, a retro tourer, and a basic roadster, all harking back to simpler times. The 149cc capacity means the initial models are ill-suited to European markets because we have the 125 learner cut-off. A smaller 125cc version of the engine remains in production today, so building a Euro-suited 125 wouldn't be a huge challenge if Honda decided to. So there we go, and there may be hope for us if we all say we want it. In its simplest form, the curb weight, including fluids, is a meagre 125 kilograms, and even with only 11.8 brake horsepower, it's certified for a top speed of 61 miles an hour, so quite usable speed there. I suppose the other thing is you look at a bike like this and think, how would that stack up against maybe an electric bike that does those sorts of numbers? And would you rather have this? And I dare say this would be a lot cheaper. So, yeah, there we go. It looks like it comes in a few flavours, a sort of a classic roadster, a cafe racer, and all sort of a touring type version as well. So looks cool to me. I'd love to see it over here. Would I buy one? Not sure. Right, next up, I just want to pull out my mate Alan Millyard. He's writing for MCN now. He's sort of in rotation with some other guest writers. And I won't read out much from the article, but this it's just well worth reading. If you don't subscribe to MCN, get yourself a subscription. I only ever just touch the surface here. I mean, I don't intend this to be an advert for MCN, but let's face it, it's the best way to get your weekly bike news, I think. Anyway, Alan's writing for the paper now, and he's just put a piece in here about the Norton Nemesis, the V8 bike that he's been rebuilding. I don't know if you've been watching it on his channel, but absolutely incredible bit of work as ever from Alan, and the article just makes your head want to explode with what he's done to go about getting this bike up and running again. Basically made a complete new wiring loom as well as everything else. Anyway, worth buying MCN just to read that one article alone, I think. Well done, Alan. All right, moving on. Retro rivalry. Style, sophistication, and a serious dose of street cred. But which one deserves a place in your heart? And here, MCN are pitting the Husqvarna Svartpilen 801 against the Yamaha XSR 900. Now, I must say, the XSR 900 has never really appealed to me from a looks point of view. I do like retro bikes, but there's always been something about the XSR that didn't quite work for me. Although I do love the engine and I do love the ride when I last rode one, which was a long time ago now, actually. However, the Svartpilen, nothing about that appeals to me. Now, I don't know. I mean, it's probably, and I'm just going from aesthetics here. Aesthetics, it's purely a personal opinion. You may well love it. I know it does, of course, have its die-hard fans. But 10499, 10716, very similarly suited bikes. Of course, the Svartpilen is a parallel twin, whereas the XSR 900 has that fantastic triple out of the MT09, which I think is just a fantastic engine. Anyway, let's see what the verdict was here. I can't imagine the Husqvarna would beat the XSR just based on that engine alone. It says it's the XSR every time. There we go. Husqvarna's Svartpilen 801 is fun, engaging and practical. More concerning for the Svartpilen, however, is the fact that its closest rival KTM 790 Duke, which shares the same engine and chassis, is more than £2,000 cheaper. And I think I prefer the looks, well, I definitely prefer the looks of the KTM personally. Yamaha's XSR 900 can justify its price due to its extra capacity and performance. Admittedly, Yam's own MT09 is £600 cheaper, but the MT's utilitarian looks and finish don't quite match that of the XSR. I disagree, actually. I think I prefer the looks of the MT09. Cheaper than both of them, and I think better than both. The real test is which of the pair you choose to ride on a Sunday morning. For me, it's the Yamaha every time. It says, who's doing this review? Gilmour, guest contributor. So there we go. I'm with Jim. I think the Yamaha triple would win for me. What about you? Interested to hear in the comments below. All right, that's it for the first paper. All right, you may have noticed a couple of little changes to bike news this month. I hope they're for the better. There's a few things I could have done to change it even more, but I've just done a little softly step. So slightly different graphics I'm using. Rather than taking photographs of the paper, I'm actually using electronic images, so I hope that's better for you. And also, you'll notice I've got more new microphones, so my sound is slightly different. I had a few complaints about sound on the last bike news. Hopefully, this fancy new microphone is making things a bit better. Again, let me know in your comments below if you prefer this way or the way I used to do them. But hopefully, little changes that just make things slightly better. Anyway, second paper, Kawasaki up their game. Now, this is a nice looking bike. This is the Ninja 1100 SX is what it's called now. Now, for me, this is a proper old school touring bike. I haven't ridden the 1100 version because it's only just come out, but I did ride the 1000 SX. Absolutely loved it. I only rode it briefly though, as a sort of I think I had it as a loan bike when I had a bike in for a service once. So I really need to talk to Kawasaki, see if I can get them to loan me one of these for longer term, because I know there's a lot of interest about this bike. It's a beautiful looking machine, I think, and ticks all the boxes for what a sports tourer should be. Let's read what it says here in the paper. Kawasaki up their game, big selling Ninja SX, updated with larger engine and a new SE model. Now, I like the sound of an SE model. I have the Kawasaki Z900 SE. It adds Brembos and Öhlins, which I think is what they've done here, and I think it's a very useful upgrade, and for the extra money, well worth having. Let's see what it says. Kawasaki have updated the Ninja 1000 SX for 2025, up in capacity to 1099cc to help meet Euro 5 Plus, as well as ushering in a new Ninja 1100 SX name, a more premium SE version with Brembo and Öhlins kit. I think that's the one to go for. The Ninja replaced the previous Z1000 SX and was Kawasaki's top seller in the UK for a decade. Wow, I didn't realise that. The incoming 1100 SX will arrive in dealers in December, so pretty soon, only a month to wait, and is set to start at $12,249. This will climb to $13,999 for the more heavily spec'd SE, so $14,000 for the SE version, which I still think is actually pretty good value. I think I paid that actually for pretty close to that for my Z900 RS SE. I know those have gone down a bit since, but which makes you realise what a good value bike this is. I mean, this is a lovely machine. Well, I think it is anyway. What do you think? It says here Kawasaki claim 134 brake horsepower at 9,000 RPM, ample. This is actually down from the 140 on the previous machine due to the Euro 5 Plus restrictions. That's typical, isn't it? As time goes on, actually power drops. However, the new 1100 SX should have a meteor mid-range, so maybe it's actually, where you need it. There is more power. Along with the capacity increase, Kawasaki say this mid-range boost has been achieved by giving the new 1100 SX new lower lift camshaft with revised timing. So it was great to ride anyway. I love four-cylinder bikes, particularly in the touring mission, because they're just so smooth, aren't they? I think this would be fantastic. Has heated grips as standard. The SE gets Brembo M4.32 front calipers, a Brembo master cylinder, Brembo front discs and steel brake lines, plus an Öhlins S46 shock with remote preload adjustment. Yeah, I think the SE would be the one I would go for. Looks an absolute winner. So, yeah, must give one of those a go. Right, couple of stories on this page. First off, giving you extra, Triumph's wallet-friendly middleweight triple gets a no-cost refresh for 2025. Always good when manufacturers make bikes better, but keep the prices the same. And that seems to be the case of what they've done here for the new Trident for 2025. A bike, again, that I loved. It's got a triple-cylinder engine, an engine that I love. I don't currently have a triple-cylinder powered bike in my garage. I need to make that right, and maybe the Trident's the way to do it. I don't know. It says here, Triumph have updated their popular Trident 660 for 2025, bestowing the middleweight machine with a host of technical changes, a fresh selection of colour choices. And I'm glad, actually, now that Triumph are coming good, aren't they, with the colours? They're being a bit bold again, like they used to be, and giving us some bright colours. That's a great thing. It says here, most impressively, no price hike, with the triple still coming in at 7,895, which I think is pretty good value for this. Still a lot of money, but good value, given the current market. This translates to a wider selection of standard fitment goodies, basically, including, among the list of now base spec items, are cruise control, brilliant addition, an up-down quick shifter, brilliant addition, the addition of a sport mode, as well as what was there already, which was rain and road. Biggest change, however, is the incorporation of a 6-axis IMU, so you now get lean angle sensitive ABS and traction control. These are brilliant additions, aren't they, for the price? Wow, that's a well-spec bike now, isn't it? The bike now sports a full colour TFT, and colour options grow with 4 choices for 2025. I think the yellow, actually the one here, I think it's cobalt yellow, cosmic yellow, I think is actually the best of the bunch, and then maybe the blue one. But yeah, really like the look of that. Nice looking bike. Cracker. All right, next up on this same page, Ducati Scrambler. This looks lovely. You know, black and gold, you can't go wrong, can you? Ducati revamp gives 2025 Scramblers a moody new look, it says here. Ride into the dark side. Ducati have given their retro Scrambler range a reshuffle for the year ahead, with 2 new models, one of which gives their existing full throttle a cosmetic refresh, while the second introduces an entirely new Scrambler model called the Icon Dark into the mix. The Icon Dark will see its dealer releases this month, but the newly enhanced full throttle will have to wait until December to be let loose on British roads. The current Scrambler crop starts from 9,995, but the new Icon Dark comes in slightly cheaper. That's good news, at 9,495. Meanwhile, the more premium full throttle will be 11,195. I bet this black and gold one's the full throttle. Yes, it is. It says here, the air-cooled V-twin still produce a punchy yet unintimidated 73 brake horsepower. Both bikes get up and down quick shifters, cornering ABS, and 2 riding modes, rain and sport 2. So similar spec to the Trident we just talked about, but going to be more expensive. You're paying the Ducati premium, I guess. But I haven't ridden a Scrambler for a long time. I was disappointed when they discontinued the 1100 because I really liked that. And then I've not really ridden one since, but I think I'm going to have a go at this one. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see me do a review on this, because, again, the black and gold thing just gets me. I think it looks cracking now. It's always been a fun, light-to-ride bike, and I think it's high time I had another go on one. So I'm adding that to the list of bikes I'm going to review in 2025. Like the look of that. Right, last story in this paper. Going ballistic. Is the new Ducati MultiStrada V4 RS the best performance crossover bike yet? I think we're inventing new types of bike all the time, aren't we? I've always loved a Ducati MultiStrada. I mean, I've never owned one, but they always look absolutely corking. They're sort of the adventure bike for the hooligan amongst us, I think. And it looks really lovely, this version. I love the paint job on here. So let's see some of the highlights here. The RS is the only MultiStrada model to run the Desmo Sedici Stradale engine, producing 177.5 brake horsepower. It's 9.9 brake horsepower up on the V4 Gran Turismo, but loses 4.9 foot-pounds of torque. The RS's power is much easier to exploit, and the V4 configuration brings with it stomping mid-range, boosted by lower final gearing on the RS when compared to the Pikes Peak. There's so many variants of it. This is the thing, isn't it? It's seriously rapid if provoked, almost matching a Panigale V4 on flat-out acceleration. So, this is a speed machine. Thanks to its titanium subframe, carbon fibre details, and compact battery, the RS is 3 kilograms lighter than the Pikes Peak. Wow. Let's see what the verdict was here. This is from John Urry. He says it packs a lot of kudos. Well, that's for sure. The Multi V4 is a fabulous bike that blends sports bike performance with practicality. The RS will hold its value better in the long run, and to many Ducatisti, the kudos of Panigale power is worth the extra outlay. So yeah, this is the bike with the Panigale engine. Nice. Looks nice. Definitely going to be more comfortable than the Panigale, that's for sure. And I think it almost is brutal looking, but I think it's almost as lovely looking as the Panigale now as well. But yeah, what a beauty. However, 32,167 of your finest British pounds if you want one. Expensive old game that, isn't it? All right, that's that. Next paper. Okay, first story in this one. The real deal. MCN given preview of Yamaha's hugely anticipated R9, and it'll cost $12,250. Now, we've seen quite a bit of this in social media over the last few weeks, haven't we? And one or two reviews popping up on the internet as well. And it seems to be pretty critically acclaimed. It does look nice, I have to say. I've always liked the look of Yamaha sports bikes. Well, I like the look of pretty much all sports bikes, to be honest. And this one looks a corker, the R9. Good price as well. And this is one, I don't ride that many sports bikes, but this is one that I am interested to ride. It says here, after years of rumours, teasers and hints, Yamaha have finally revealed a full production R9 super sport bike for 2025 featuring winglets, lean-sensitive electronics and a sub-13,000 price. At last, manufacturers are starting to give us better price bikes, aren't they? With some of the less features maybe, but definitely better prices. Still a lot of money, of course, but you know, when you consider top spec adventure bikes and you know, naked bikes, etc., over 20 grand, then suddenly 13 sounds quite good, doesn't it? The 890cc R9 is not Yamaha's first attempt at a sporty CP3 powered triple, with the arrival of the 500 Grand Prix inspired retro XSR 900 GP back in April. Remember that? I did some videos on that. I'll put a link in the corner if I remember. Did enjoy that bike to a degree. Well, I certainly enjoyed the engine. Found it a little uncomfortable though. Hoping this one, it doesn't look that comfortable, does it? But it might be more comfortable, you never know. Unlike that model though, the R9 is an out-and-out focused sports machine with a lightweight bespoke Delta Box chassis, R1 developed suspension componentry, advanced lean sensitivity and even launch control as standard. Following its reveal, many online commentators were hung up on the numbers, drawing comparisons with the Honda CBR R600RR that produces 119 brake horsepower, what is arguably older engine architecture. But, you know, let's face it, 117 brake horsepower is what this puts out, and that is enough, isn't it, for the road. Providing stopping power is a set of Brembo style Lima monoblock calipers, so nice cycle parts on here, which work in tandem with braided hoses to bite onto 320mm discs. Lean sensitive electronics, courtesy of a 6-axis IMU. They're all getting that these days, aren't they? Riders can opt between sport, street and rain modes, option of 4 track modes and 2 custom preset modes. Also gets launch control. Rear ABS can be deactivated for some sliding action if that's your game. It's got cruise control and a speed limiter are also standard. Nice up-down quick shifter and a 5-inch TFT dash. So that sounds like quite a nice package, doesn't it? All for, as I say, $12,250. Nice. Going to give that one a go. Right, next up on this page, Triumph have revealed a heavily revised Speed Twin 900 for 2025. Now, this is one that's very close to my heart as a Speed Twin owner. And I have to say, I'm not that enamoured with what they've done with this. I have asked Triumph if I can borrow one of these as soon as they're available on the press fleet. And I don't think we're going to see them probably until February, March time. So we won't be seeing it on my channel for a while. But I'm interested to see how it actually rides. I've got the original 1200 from 2019. It's had a couple of little tweaks since then, but this is probably the biggest upgrade, if indeed it is an upgrade. See what you think of this. Tipping the scales at 216 kilograms ready to ride, the Twin benefits from updated chassis components plus additional electronics. Replacing the old conventional fork stanchions are a set of 43mm upside down Marzocchis, flanking a newly styled mudguard with preload adjustable twin Marzocchi shocks on either side of the now narrower, flat 780mm bench seat. So there we go. So they've changed the suspension again. And I just don't think it really looks in keeping with a retro styled bike. I'm sure the suspension is actually now superior, certainly to that on my bike. I'd like to do an upgrade on my bike, but yeah, I just don't think it looks quite right on the Speed Twin. Newly styled mudguard, don't think that looks great either. New stiffer and lighter aluminium swing arm, well, no complaints there, which should boost the Speed Twin's handling. Redesigned 18-inch front and 17-inch rear wheels. Again, I'm not sure I think that's necessarily an improvement. Subframe has been made slimmer. Well, that's good to help provide a surer footing to riders of all sizes. 2 riding modes plus lean sensitive Bosch cornering ABS and traction control. That's definitely an improvement. Now, this is the thing that's the real killer. You'll also find a part LCD, part TFT dash with optional extras, including heated grips. The Speed Twin 900 will be available in 3 colours as standard. So it's that dash that I don't like. It's just one of the things that I loved about the Speed Twin was the fact that, did I just call it triple? The Speed Twin is the fact that it has those classic dual clocks on the front of it. I think they look absolutely brilliant. And to go LCD/TFT with this, I just think that's a step back. Be interested in your comments below. Anyway, having said that, I'm looking forward to giving that a go. It's one of my favourite bikes. I absolutely love Speed Twins. The last incarnation of it, which is the one after mine, was brilliant to ride. I'm sure this will be even better. But, you know, does it still stack up as a retro bike with all those new fancy cycle parts on it? We shall see. Okay, the price won't sting. Now, this is another bike I'm really, really interested in. Honda reveal full details of the CB1000 Hornet family with prices starting at $8,999. This has got to be the bargain bike, hasn't it, of the 2025 batch? And I think I think it's the SE or the SP version looks fantastic in the black and gold. Let's see what it says here. Honda are massively undercutting the naked competition for 2025 with 150 brake horsepower CB1000 Hornet starting at $8,999. What a bargain. And once again, a manufacturer that shows it's listening to everybody that's been saying how expensive bikes are. I'm not saying £9,000 is not a lot of money, but again, in the scheme of things and taking into account inflation and how much you can pay for a naked bike, that is a bargain. It's $3,000 less than the Suzuki GSXS125, and I personally think looks much better. It's more than $5,300 cheaper than a Yamaha MT10, and it certainly looks a whole lot better than an MT10, in my view. Again, personal thing. The price rising by $1,000 for the SP version, which is a bargain because that comes with slightly higher performance, Öhlins TTX 36 rear shock, fully adjustable forks, and Brembo Stylema front calipers. So for £1,000 extra, those things are well worth having. You couldn't upgrade it for that yourself. The CBs will be powered by a detuned version of Honda's 2017 Fireblade engine. While the donor bike was all about top end speed, the Hornet version has been tuned to deliver most of its punch in the low and mid range, which is where we want it on the road, isn't it, after all? 3 default riding modes plus 2 customizable user ones, all sorts of technical updates, LED projector headlights, TFT screen, quick shifter can be added as part of one of 3 accessory packs on the base model. Both Hornets have an 809mm seat height, so quite low, flat bars, but comfortable to ride, it says here. So yeah, all sorts of stuff here. Buy the magazine and read more if you want to know more. But I mean, I think it looks great. It's got more than the hint, hasn't it, of Ducati Street Fighter about it, that's for sure. But it being a Honda, it'll be super reliable. It being a 4-cylinder, it'll be super smooth. And I think it looks absolutely ace. Again, I've already put a word into Honda for can I borrow one of these as soon as they're available. I'm actually quite tempted to treat that as a bit of a test ride because, you know what, I quite fancy one of these in the garage. Anyway, there we go. Let's see how that goes. Right, next. Upping the game, do these top-spec middleweight nakeds justify the extra expense? So this is the Yamaha MT09 SP, as opposed to the base model, over the Triumph Street Triple 765 RS, as opposed to the R model. Now, in both of these cases, I've ridden both of these and the base specs. I thought that, number one, I love both bikes, actually. It'd be very difficult to choose between the two, both being triples, both being similarly priced. In fact, within 11 quid of each other. The MT09 SP, I think I would probably have over the RS from Triumph, only because I've had a Triumph Street Triple before, and it'd be nice to have something slightly different. But whether I'd like it more in reality is a different question. It does look good though, and it's a fab bike. And I made a video about the MT09 SP, and I said something like, I think it was called "Is it worth £1,000 extra" or something. Again, I'll put a link in the corner to that one, so you can go and have a look at that. And it definitely is worth £1,000 more. Whereas not so much, I think, with the 765 RS. I do like the RS colour, the yellow, which you can only get in the RS, which is a shame. But I found the R was actually just as nice on the road. If you're only going to ride on road, I think the R is the one to have. I prefer the dashboard on the R, and I found the ride a little less harsh. Of course, the RS, fully adjustable suspension, you can dial it down and make it softer. But if that's what you're going to do, why bother with getting that one in the first place? So, yeah, for me, out of the two, I'd have the Street Triple R, and I'd have the Yamaha MT09 SP. And choosing out of the two, for me personally, I'd go for the SP because I've had a Street Triple already. Both great bikes. Now let's see what the verdict from MCN was, and this is John Urry again. The SP is our top spec bike, it says here. The SP enhances the already excellent MT09 without detracting from its many plus points. The keyless ignition is helpful. The uprated suspension more compliant. It says complaint here, which is quite fun. And the Brembo brakes increasingly effective. The Street Triple RS, on the other hand, is more a matter of choice. If you ride it hard, it's sublime, but at a slower pace, the lower spec R model is more relaxed. Now, I would completely agree with that. Backing off the RS's damping a bit would narrow the gap. But if you feel the need to do this, maybe the R would be the better buy in the first place, which is exactly what I just said. So I completely agree with John Urry there. So that's nice, isn't it, when you agree with the experts? I'm definitely not an expert, so that's brilliant. They've given both bikes 5 stars out of 5, and yeah, you would not be disappointed if you bought either one of those. They're both absolutely brilliant fun bikes, and I think probably are in the sweet spot for road motorcycles. If you just want a bike for fun on the road, get one of these two. You don't need to spend any more. They're both brilliant. Right, Beamer, but on a budget. Now, this one's quite close to my heart because I've been riding this week. This is the Voge F900 GS. It says here, Voge is 9199, half sibling of the F900 GS. Shares many qualities for far less cash. What it means here is the engine is actually identical to that BMW use in the F900 GS because it's made by the parent company of Voge, a company called Lonsin. And that's the engine that's in the GS, the F900 GS, which I did love riding when I rode that a few months back. But I have to say, I've got a video of this coming up, the F900 GS, or maybe two, probably early next year before you actually see it. And spoiler alert, I really did rate this. For the money, this is definitely the best Chinese bike I've yet ridden. Everybody moans about Chinese bikes. I know, they say they're made of toffee, they don't know what they're doing, and what about communism and all the politics. I get all that. But ignore them at your peril. This bike now is proper up there. Everything about it feels quality. It's got a massively high spec. It just works and it rides lovely. And it's £9,199. An absolute bargain for what you get. So if you're in the market for an adventure bike and you want to save some cash, do yourself a favour. Put your preconceptions behind you. Have a go on the Voge and just see what you think. I mean, we don't know what it's going to be like long term, do we? We don't know what the longevity is going to be like. We don't know what the dealer support's going to be like. So those things are question marks. You have to make your own mind up about that. But as far as the actual bike's concerned, I think it looks awesome and it rides beautifully is all I can say. But my full review coming up soon. Let's see what MCN say anyway. Voge isn't a name that that means much to many riders, but the DS900X might be the bike to establish their credentials. I think that might be the case. Lonsin, badged as Voge, have been involved in building the F900 GS to offer their own version of the same platform. Mechanical specification is less power, less sophisticated cycle parts and so on, but the Voge comes with panniers, keyless ignition, heated seats, dash cam, warning radar, cruise control as standard for £9,199. So it is an absolute bargain, this bike. The BMW starts at £11,995, and that of course will be the basic bike. By the time you spec it up, you're going to be looking at 16 grand to have all those things. It'd be inaccurate to say it's on par with the GS. For a start, it's 20 brake horsepower down, and the standard kit push is the claim weight to 240 kilograms, whereas the bare bones GS is 219. But of course, if you add the panniers and that to that, then that would soon creep up. Anyway, it says here, Matt Wildy, their editor of Ride magazine, apparently, he says the standard equipment and ability make the DS900X a worthy choice of middleweight all-rounder in its own right. It doesn't have glaring shortcomings, only minor niggles that fade into insignificance if you're not comparing it to pricier rivals. I agree. Time will tell, but on face value, the DS900X is a great proposition for anyone seeking a value for money all-rounder. Yeah, I agree. I put it to you. Do not ignore that. Give that one a test ride. You might be surprised. And the money savings are huge. Okay, final paper of this month's bike news until we then get on to parish notices, of course. New cat on the block. Triumph lift the lid on their all-new Tiger Sport 800. Now, this was all over the social media feeds last week, wasn't it, when this one came out? And I have to say, I'm pretty excited about this as well. I am a bit of a Triumph fanboy, as you've probably noticed. And I love a Tiger, and I love the Tiger Sport 660. And this now is a sort of a... I'll say outrated. It's got a bigger engine. I mean, that's always you're always gonna like that, aren't they? And they've managed to shoehorn it into pretty much the same frame and body styling as well. I think it looks lovely. Again, the yellow just seems to work with this. Let's see what it says here. The all-new Tiger Sport 800, set to hit showrooms in March 2025, is priced at £10,995. Again, another great price bike here from Triumph. The Tiger Sport 800 promises to combine the best of both worlds, delivering more power and torque than the adventure-style 850, with near identical power output to the old 1050. I used to own one of those. It was a fantastic stonking engine in the 1050 triple, and it felt pretty powerful to me at the time, I tell you. But it was a big old heavy bike, whereas this one won't be. It says here, but in a more compact, agile package that more closely mirrors the rider-friendly dimensions of the 660. At the core of the new 800 is a flat, plain 798cc triple-cylinder engine, pumping out a healthy 113 brake horsepower and 62 pounds-feet of torque. Now, I'm really pleased about this. When it says flat plane, I think that means it's a normal triple. They haven't done that thing that they did with the off-roady Tiger 900s and made the firing order all funny and, to me, lost the character of the triple. But they kept that on this bike, so I think it's going to have that Triumph whistle that I personally love. I know some people don't like that, but I do. And just all the triple characteristics that I know and love. I think this is going to be a really good practical all-rounder and an exciting bike to ride as well. I can see one of these in my future if the likes of the GS and the Goldwing just prove too heavy. This would be the perfect one up, or probably two up as well, touring bike. I love it. I'd be very interested to compare this actually against the Kawasaki S1000 SX Ninja, whatever they're calling it now, the 1100, wouldn't it? Although this, of course, isn't quite as powerful. They sort of fit in the same genre, don't they? Anyway, I digress. What else we said here? Real world performance. It's all about real world performance. 90% of peak torque available throughout the mid-range. That's what I like to hear. Despite the extra muscle, Triumph have managed to shoehorn the 800 triple into the same tried and tested chassis as the Tiger Sport 660. Triumph are pitching the Tiger Sport 800 as a dedicated road-focused sports tourer. That's a genre I like. Comfort is front and centre. Again, I like this. With upright, spacious ergos and a large windscreen. Claimed fuel economy is just north of 60 miles per gallon. The Tiger's 18.6 litre tank should squeeze just shy of 250 miles. 6-axis IMU, cornering ABS and traction, cruise control, quick shifter come as standard, TFT, all that game, and 11 grand is your cost. Loving that. That one is going to do Triumph a lot of good, I am sure. Cannot wait to have a go on that. I think I've already asked Triumph about that. So again, I imagine it'll be March, April before we see those. Right, next up, we mentioned this, I think, on the last bike news. This is the Royal Enfield electric offering, creating a royal buzz. Now, I'm not a big fan by any means of electric bikes, but this one from Royal Enfield looks interesting because, as much as anything, I just think it looks quite cool with the girder front forks. But there's been some spy shots now come out. Spy shots reveal Enfield's urban battery bike and final tests. This image appears to show a late-stage prototype being ridden on the streets of Barcelona. And it comes hot on the heels of a design registration by Enfield's parent company, Eicher, in India, showing a retro futuristic electric bike. That's the one we talked about last month. And I think it was called the Flying Flea, isn't it, as well? From the spy shot, it's clear to see a reasonably low seat height along with a neutral riding position, although there's no official word yet on the price. The official unveil of the model is expected on November the 4th, so that's pretty soon, isn't it? So we'll keep our eyes skinned for that. I like the girder forks and I like the look of it. Would I buy one? Probably not. Electric bikes just don't do it for me. Right, next story. Good news story. KTM play fair by owners. Goodwill scheme for past and future LC8 camshaft issues. Now, everybody's been saying to me, have you heard about the camshaft issues with KTMs? They're made of cheese, all that sort of thing. Well, it seems like KTM are doing the right thing for those owners. It says here, KTM have confirmed to MCN that LC8C parallel twin models affected by an ongoing camshaft wear issue will be repaired under goodwill, whether still in warranty or not. Now, that is a nice thing to see, isn't it? Well done, KTM, for doing the right thing. The reliability allegations relate to excessive wear on the camshaft lobes of predominantly pre-2021 790 models. Owners who experience these symptoms should contact their nearest dealers. So if you've got one of these bikes, contact your dealer. Sounds like they're going to sort you out at no charge, which is a huge thumbs up to KTM for that. Well done, those guys. Right, crisis in the electric market, it says here. Pioneering Italian electric bike brand Energica confirmed that they have entered liquidation and downturn in EV sales. This is a shame. As much as I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of electric bikes. It's a shame when you see companies go under, isn't it? And it looks like Energica, that I think had some of the best electric bikes on the market, have gone that way. The Italian electric superbike firm Energica Motor Company have filed for liquidation, marking the end of their decade-long reign as a leader in high-performance electric motorcycles. What a shame to hear. The company cited a downturn in the automotive market and supply chain alongside a crisis in the electric market and the decline in the sector's investment as key reasons for their financial collapse. It says here, drilling into data further shows that sale of large capacity electric bikes to be particularly weak, with just 29 battery motorcycles producing more than 47 brake horsepower registered from the start of January and the end of September. So they just ain't selling for all the reasons presumably that we've said before. Number one, you lose that visceral thing that we all love about motorcycles, the noise, the smell, the vibrations, etc. You don't get at the price. The pricing is just, they seem to be more expensive. They're usually more expensive than comparable internal combustion bikes. They're heavy. It's not really surprising they haven't caught on yet. The technology isn't quite there yet, is it? So Energica, an early casualty of that problem. All right, last story here, I think. Top spec urban, what does it say here? Cruiser. Now this, BMW upgrade the C400 GT and C400X mid-size scooters for 2025. I think this looks cool, but I'm not sure who it's for. So I do think it looks good. Would I buy one again? I don't think I would. Maybe if I lived in town, and wanted a scooter, then perhaps maybe then, because it does look cooler than your run-of-the-mill scooter, doesn't it? What do you think? Is this one that you'd buy, and who do you think this is aimed at? It says here, BMW are upping the spec and list of optional extras on their two mid-size scooters, the C400 GT and 400X. Thanks to an IMU, BMW's angle-responsive ABS and traction control systems, ABS Pro and dynamic traction control are standard, where the old models only had basic ABS and stability control. Dynamic brake control is also on there, apparently. Engine drag torque control. It's full of tech, this. BMW have armed the C400 models with a 6.5-inch TFT dash as standard, and BMW know how to do TFT, so that's going to be a good looker. Wouldn't mind a go on one, must admit, and I think it looks cool, as I say. Would I shell out on one? I don't know. Comes in, it's quite expensive. C400X 6940 and the GT 7900. A lot of money for a scooter, but then if you are a scooter fan and you want everything that scooters offer you, you know, practicality, storage, etc., I like it. I like it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Right, final story. I just want to mention here, Brembo go for Swedish gold. Brake firm seals a €370 million Öhlins takeover. So Brembo have bought Öhlins. That's quite something, isn't it? Both great brands. So not unhappy to hear this. You know, maybe the combination of the two is, you know, it's better than the sum of the parts. You know what I'm saying? Italian braking specialist Brembo have announced the purchase of suspension firm Öhlins in what's described as the largest acquisition in the Bergamo firm's history. Brembo have purchased a 100% stake in the business, paying $370 million for the pleasure. That's a lot of money, isn't it? I wouldn't have thought that Öhlins was worth that, would you? But anyway, there you go. Clearly, they think it is. As we join forces with Brembo, we're excited. This is Öhlins speaking. As we join forces with Brembo, we're excited to unlock new growth opportunities and leverage our respective strengths and assets to drive innovation and deliver even greater value. CEO of Öhlins Racing, Tom Wittenschläger, added. Excellent. Well, I think that's probably a good match. So yeah, quite pleased to read about that. All right, that's it for the paper review. So just a bit of time to go through parish notices then, just to let you know what's coming up. Next vid, of course, will be on Saturday, and that is the next in the tour series. That's episode 4 of my European tour. Thank you to everybody that's been watching that. I thoroughly enjoyed making that for you, and as with all tours, it gets better as it goes on. So if you've not dipped into that yet, I encourage you to have a look at episode 4, because I think it gets better as it goes along, and it's well worth watching, particularly if you like Goldwings. After that, 5th of November, I get to revisit my old friend, the Africa Twin. I haven't ridden one for a while. I think it's probably about 5 years since I did a review on the channel. But I borrowed one when my Goldwing was in for a service just before that tour, actually. And I thought I'd take the opportunity just to sort of reacquaint myself with the Africa Twin. Great bike. Anyway, that's coming out on the 5th of November, sort of a quick and dirty look at the Africa Twin. Then there's another 3 tour videos between now and the next bike news. Every time on Saturday mornings. It's intended to be easygoing Saturday morning viewing with your coffee type of thing. Then at long last, the Triumph Scrambler I've had in the house, the 400X. That's coming on the 13th of November. I loved its little brother, or is it its big? No, let's go little brother. The Speed 400. That was a great bike when I had that a couple of months back. Well, the 400X continues in a similar vein. Question is, do I like it even more? Come to that in a minute. I've got a poorly timed Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus video coming up. I say poorly timed because I think probably yesterday, by the time you see this, Yamaha have announced some updates to the Tracer 9 GT Plus. So my video is already out of date and I haven't even aired it yet, but that's coming up. 27th of November, I've got a video actually looking at the Scrambler, the Triumph Scrambler 400 versus the Speed 400, and I pose the question, which would I buy if I was in the market for one of those two? So if you're interested in the new Triumph 400, it's well worth watching that video, I think. 29th, I've got a bonus Friday video for you, and that's going to be on one of those CarPlay doodahs. It's going to be, you probably won't like this video, it's going to be another, basically it's an advert for the Ayochi C5, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a fair look. I'm using the Chiggy on my BMW GS. I rode with it today. I continue to love that, but I fancied something for my retro bike, something a bit smaller, something that was simple, something a bit cheap, and the Ayochi C5 seems to fit that bracket. It's less than 150 quid, I think, so I'm looking forward to giving that a try. I haven't got it yet, so assuming I get it, I'll bring you a review of that on the 29th. And then next bike news, 4th of December. So there we go. I've got a few other little things up my sleeve that I'm going to try as well. So you might see some other bits and pieces that I've not announced, but just mulling over some new ideas in my mind just to sort of refresh the channel a bit. Might mean the end of bike news, though. That's the only issue. But don't worry, it'll be mopped up in something else. But that's another story. Anyway, that's it for this time for bike news. Hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missing and Fly. Cheerio.